when you bring up, whenever I hear women say, "Oh, that's superficial," I mean, guys right here, there's the guys in the chat are saying, "Well, it's superficial, it's fake, it's not for real." What is real? What's the definition of what's genuine?
I will tell you how to view it. I will tell you how to view it. When somebody's really interested in you, it really doesn't matter. Okay, it only matters when there's a lack of interest.
So the guy who's making your sandwich at Subway, as long as he's interesting, you're good with it?
Let me add this as well, okay, because I have to add a caveat to this. Now, I'm going to say attraction. I'm going to use that word and that word specifically, and attraction is not connected to how somebody physically looks. Okay. Now, it's a big part of it. I'm not going to say that that's not important. Everybody wants to date a hot guy, hot girl. You want to be sexually attracted to your partner. Nothing wrong with that. Go ahead. However, that's not the only thing that matters. Now, let's say you typically date somebody that's, that is works out, fit, like whatever, right? And then you meet somebody, and let's say they have more of like a dad bod, but you're attracted to them. You're sexually attracted to them, but it's out of what you would typically, date or sleep with. That matters, and you're likely to veer or make the exception because the attraction's there. This does happen. However, okay, when you tend to see people only going for like, I'm only going to date somebody that has this, I'm only going to date somebody that has this, that is because there's a lack of interest. That's because you're not really that into that person. When you're really into somebody, it's not that all those things go out the window and that you want somebody to be careless or you want somebody that doesn't manage their money well, but you're more likely to make those exceptions for somebody that you really, really like. You're more likely to work with them.
So you think it's all about the emotional investment there?
No, I don't think it's all about, well, I think it's about a connection, and that can be a lot of things. A connection is instant. It is something otherworldly. I think it's something that's spiritual, and I think that
we're going there already. Here we go.
Well, look, this is.
Are we doing that now?
We don't have to.
My question to women as well as men is like, when we talk about like superficiality, what is superficial? What is authentic and what is superficial? And really, it's sort of like on a body.
But I think it's personal. Yeah.
What makes you authentic? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's completely different for each gender.
Yeah.
I am the same. Again, we are equal, but we are different. Neurologically and biologically, we are different. For the simple fact, to start with, I have 17 times as much testosterone as you do. We are different. So what we find to be superficial is going to be different. Men are going to look at looks more and sooner than women are. Some women, you've met women before that are just into looks. I know some girls that basically 6'5", tattoos, tattoo sleeve and six-pack abs, they'll go home with any dude I've seen. And I know some girls that are not like that at all. They actually are interested in a connection. One thing that really does bother me, though, is the dad bod myth. I believe that women are attracted to men because they have athletic physiques. If there's a dad bod, the dad bod builds comfort. It does not build attraction. I do not believe the dad bod builds we can argue about this all you want. I do not believe women are attracted to a dad bod. What I think is women see an attractive man with a dad bod and they're like, this is a guy who will stay at home and help me with the kids. That's what he looks like. He looks like a dude who will take out the trash.
His looks are congruent.
And
with
here's the
your
reason. Let's bring science into this. What happens to men when women get pregnant? Does anybody know from a scientific standpoint?
They get fat.
They get fat. Well, why? Their body starts.
Well, doesn't their estrogen increase?
Correct.
Right?
Their estrogen levels go up and their prolactin levels go up. Men start putting on more body fat because the evolutionary explanations of theory is that there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights with the new baby,
right?
And so they have to put on more body fat. Men need attraction to have sex. Women need attraction and comfort to have sex. Men do not need comfort. When a woman sees a man who has a dad bod, she is recognizing, especially when it's like a movie star, because he already has the attraction. He's famous.
Can I clarify something just briefly here? There's a difference between arousal and attraction.
Okay.
So the first question on Fresh and Fit is always, what do you look for in a guy? Women will always say what they're attracted to in the long term for that guy. They don't go, yeah, he's got to have 26-inch guns. He's got to have a nice ass. He's got to have a V-taper. He's got to have a six-pack abs. He's got to look like a Chippendales mom. They're not going to say that. It's always, well, he's got to be nice. He's got to like puppy dogs. He's got to love his mom. He's got to want kids. He's got to like Disneyland. He's got all that other crap. Anything that sort of that promotes the idea of long-term security is usually what I have defined as attraction, whereas then there's arousal. So what about a guy gets your blood flowing? That's a question than what is attractive in a guy.
We love a
confidence.
Good big dick.
confidence.
There it is.
there's-
Whoa,
there's-
Miss Nevada, what?
Whoa,
Hold on, Miss
wait a
Nevada.
minute,
Mom.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, Miss Nevada. Wait, what?
Mark that.
What?
Mom, if you're watching, please, I mean, just
I
turn it
still
off right
think,
now.
Like confidence and romance. I mean, like still like to go
Arousal-
on dates and feel special.
I mean, for me,
and-
it starts with conversation.
I think there's more than just the physical
sure.
for
So-
arousal, but I think it starts at
I think
It
it starts.
does, it does, it
It
does.
starts at the physical look like that, but it's the same with guys as well. Like you don't know if a person's going to create security or, have good conversation or give
Have
you
a
that.
big dick.
Right,
You don't know.
you're not going to know right away.
don't
But the first thing that you are going to see is, hey, I'm attracted to this person. I would possibly sleep with them. You're going to see that. I think there's a stat that says, women know if they're going to sleep with somebody within the first 3 seconds of meeting them. So, and
I have an addendum
I
to
think
that.
it's 2 minutes.
you?
I don't
Okay.
think it's. I think if she knows that she's not, what he's
Look,
going to say.
look
Yeah.
She's
again.
not going to sleep with him.
Yeah,
I'm not-
I
I'm
think
not
that
the-
women know that within the first 5 minutes that they're
Okay.
not going to sleep with the
Okay,
guy.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty accurate to me. So physical attraction it does play a big role, but that's just the leg in the door. That's just it. Like that doesn't sustain any kind of relationship or any kind of permanency. It's
But you
just
don't
it's
get
some.
to that. You don't get to that relationship without having the attraction or the
Yeah,
arousal
the
prior
first-
to.
Well,
I hold on. I think you ladies can get by the fact that you may not find a girl. Not all women. Some women can get by the fact you don't find him perfectly physically attractive. I don't think men can. I think men have to be physically,
I don't
sexually
think
aroused.
women can either. Now, I think, look, I don't. I do not think that they can. What I see women do all the time is they make an exception for security. The guy's got money, okay? They make an exception for this, but they're not
So, but
satisfied.
she's not attractive. But she's not attractive.
They're not
Right.
satisfied
She's just
with
she's
it. I see
tolerating it. She's tolerating it.
Men too.
Yes,
I feel like I
yeah.
see that all the time, actually.
Yes.
I grew up around a huge Mormon community, and I feel like I've seen it. You can just sense it that we're marrying just to get married because that's the religion, that's
That's
the
what we're
culture.
supposed to do.
But I know for a fact he doesn't. That's not who he would choose if he could have his own
Okay,
individual
but
choice.
so
That's a really
here's
good
okay,
point.
ready.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry to be a little visceral here. This is the point of physical attraction to where your penis gets hard. At least she's above that.
It's a boner test.
That's the boner test. Yeah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
boner test.
I feel
Yes.
like it doesn't take much for guys, though.
I was gonna
right?
say, all
I
you
feel
have to
like
do
it
is
could
think
just
about
be
someone
like,
else.
I'm not disagreeing.
All you have to do is think of the next door neighbor. That
I'm not
I think is
disagreeing.
hot.
By the way, we didn't
Hold on.
come up with that term. That's an old
Hold
school
on,
term.
can we also say, like, for the three of you, you guys are outside of 2 standard deviations of like physical attractiveness for the average American woman. So it's also a little different. Like you could be
Yeah, you hear that? Bullies in elementary school. I'm cute. You guys.
Tiana, you could be significantly less attractive and still pass the boner test. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Right.
that's so kind.
So
I mean, it's
Thank you so
obvious.
much.
I mean, like, yes.
Just gonna put that in her bio now.
Scale of 1 to 10 on a 7.5.
pass the boner.
But you do not. But you don't get in the door. Like again, like when you're asking women, what are you looking for in a guy? It's always long-term security. So really, and we brought this up a million times. That's what hypergamy really is,
Right.
right? I'm sick to death of people saying it's just about like, oh, you got to have money, you got to have
Money.
security, and you got to protect her and provide and be parentally invested. No, there's another side to hypergamy. It's called the alpha fuck side. He's got to look hot. He's got to be the hot guy in the foam cannon party. He's got to be the guy that you want to have sex with that gets your blood pumping. Otherwise, the other side of this is kind of meaningless and it becomes more of a transactional nature as opposed to a validational nature with a guy who's hot enough that you want to be with.
I think that's so important, but I think that a lot of women don't actually follow that path. It's a need that goes neglected and unmet a lot of the time for women, because women will make exceptions more than men will when it comes to physical attraction, because what they're looking, because again, her love need is safety.
Well,
Maybe. I think for the men we encounter here, you're correct. I think for the 28% of men that have had 0 sexual partners in the last year, they will make some serious fucking exceptions for physical attractiveness.
True, that's true.
Otherwise,
Yes.
trailer parks wouldn't exist.
Women have a higher standard for physical standard for male beauty than men have for women right now. If you don't believe me, just go look at all the niches of porn on Pornhub right now.
So let's talk about this.
Wait, women need a more attractive man?
Yeah,
Women
so
have a more static,
So listen.
permanent standard for male.
Yeah.
The idea is this: is that 80% of guys on online platforms are classified as unattractive.
Yeah,
These are the guys that are never going to, they're the invisibles. I call them the 80%ers, right? When people give me this bullshit about like, oh, here's the 80-20 rule in the manosphere in Ripple, it's not about 80% of guys or 20% of guys banging 80% of the women. Like, get this straight, please. It's 100% of women want the top 20% of guys. And so what happens is those 80% of guys are sort of the undesirables. They're the invisibles. That 20% of guys are not necessarily attractive. They're just not unattractive. So they might do. Of that 20%, only 4.5% of them are hot enough, interesting enough, good looking enough for them to initiate some sort of contact with that guy. 4.5%. So when we talk about the 80-20 rule, I'm really trying to stress for accuracy on these days. But when it comes to physical arousal, as I was saying before, that's the statistical break right there. So for a guy to be hot, for a Justin Waller or whatever, like a Mike Sartain for that matter, it's to get that right swipe, to actually be interested enough to initiate contact, he's got to be within the top 4% of at least the available guys that are on Tinder at that time. The other 20%, those are the guys who kind of have to like figure it out. Like they got to get themselves in shape. They got to have some more value added to put them into to become acceptable.
So what I'm saying is that most men don't have that at all, no matter where they live. And the real reason is a lot of you don't notice them. A lot of you, when I say what percentage of men have had 0 sexual partners the last year, you didn't notice the cashier at Walmart, and you didn't notice the guy who gave you your food at Raising Cane's in the drive-thru. You didn't, in your mind, he doesn't even count. So that's why you were just like, well, it must be a low number.
Invisible.
No. But what you're used to is the host who walked you into Zook, right? What you're used to is the incredibly good-looking dude, who's the bartender.
I don't know.